All right, welcome to another video. This one is on sine law, but it's a little trickier. If you mastered the sine law, you know how to use the sine law. So this is a word problem, but you'll notice it has these compass directions in it. So I'm going to go to the next page for a second. And you have this in your notes. It says directions are often stated in terms of north and south on a compass, as well as east and west. For example, north 30 degrees east means traveling in the direction 30 degrees east of north, which means if I have, so reset, make it a little neater, let's use a straight line. So you have a compass. A compass looks like this, where there's north, and south, and east, and west. And the heading, so let's just do a couple. If I head north 20 degrees east, that means I'm going directly north, and then I go 20 degrees down towards the east. So I went 20 degrees this way, and that's towards the east. If I went south 30 degrees west, I would start going in the south, and then I go 30 degrees this way towards the west. So whatever you have first, that's your main direction, and then the degrees are how many degrees you go towards one or the other. So depending on what angle you're looking for, if I want that angle right there for a sine, for a triangle, it'd be 30 degrees. But if I want this one, then that would be 60 degrees. So we're going to use a little bit of our angles information, these headings. Now that blurb over there is from the math textbook, and they say we do north, south first, and then the direction. So like this one, if you had, let's say north 52, let's go 55 degrees east. Let's go west. Makes it easier because I haven't drawn there yet. Means you go to the north, and then you go 55 degrees down towards the west. Problem with this is not everybody uses that same method. So this one here actually 45 in some places. So when I do physics, I don't want to change everything here, but when I do physics, we don't do 55. We do whichever one's closer. It's closer to the west, right? Because this angle here is 35 degrees. So most actually use west, and then I went 35 up towards the north. They're the same thing. They just have different ways of saying it. Generally, most compass headings are whichever one you start off with, and then how many degrees north or south or whatever. So your main one that you start off with, north, and then you go towards the west, or south towards the west, or whatever the case may be. Or this one, west, 35 degrees north. They both mean the same thing. They're important just in that you'll have to figure out where they fit in our triangles. Those of you that take grade 11 and 12 physics, I'll show you another way to do these type of questions, which is actually easier, but it doesn't suit the sine law, and we're using the sine law. So that's where we are for that. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at this question. Chloe and Ivan are paddling north on Lake La Ronge in Saskatchewan. They notice a campsite ahead at a heading of north 52 degrees west, so they get the compass out. So this is this 52 degrees west thing that I wouldn't normally do, but I'm going to leave it here because it's what the textbook had, and that's where I took this from. They continue paddling north for 800 meters, which takes them past the campsite. Then they look back, and it's at south 40 degrees west. How far away the nearest meter is the campsite from their position? So this takes a little bit of drawing. So I'm going to draw, there's my first point. This is where they were, and I'm going to draw my little compass here. And the first heading, they look, they're in the boat, and they look, and they see north 52 degrees west. So they go, if you go north and then 52 degrees downward, right? So this is north, that's 52 degrees down from there. That's where the campsite is. So there's their tent, because this is the campsite. Right, there's a campfire out of their fire pit. That's the campsite. If you don't like my drawing, draw it yourself. But I'm trying. So that's the first one. That is north 52 degrees towards the west. So this is the north up here. This is the west. And they take a little bit of drawing, and yes, you have to learn this stuff. So then they continue on, and they paddle up to here. This is 800 meters they've gone. And they look back at this point, and it's, I draw my compass headings again, and now it's south, so I look down in this direction, and then go 40 degrees towards the west. So I go up this way. Tidy this up a little bit. Just going to tidy this up a touch. So there's where we stop here for a second. We take our headings. It says south 40 degrees towards the west. So I go south and then angle up 40 degrees. So I'm looking somewhere like this, with this being west over here. And it's not exactly drawn to perfect angle, but I put my campsite here and I didn't go far enough. So this angle right here is south 40 degrees towards the west. If you look at this, I now have a triangle with a 52 here and a 40 there. And then I want to find out how far it is for this direction, this distance over here. How far are they from the campsite? If they were to put their boat on the shore here and walk, how far is that distance? So I have, as you've been doing, that side, and I have this side, except I don't have that angle, but I've got all the angles in a triangle, and we know, I'm just going to label these as A and B for point A and B, and C comes in handy because that's the campsite. And we know that in a triangle, A plus B plus C all equals 180. So A is 52 degrees plus the 40 degrees plus C equals 180. If I do the math on that, I get C equals 88 degrees. So now I know this angle right here is now 88 degrees. I have the pair, which means I can use the sine law. I want that side. So we know that A, because X is really A, so I should erase this and let's call it A. Let's try to stick to the rules a little bit here. A, and if I'm looking for the side, I put it on the top. A over sine A equals, we got the other one, C over sine of C. Let's scroll down a little bit so I can fit in my work. A over the sine of 52 equals C, which is 800, over the sine of 88. So that's not the neatest. I'm going to put this up on the other side, and I'm going to get A equals 800 times the sine of 52 divided by the sine of 88. And when I put that on my calculator, because I can do it all in one step, and if you can't, well, we'll have to practice that, but I get 630.79 meters. And it's a word problem, so that means we need to have a word answer. So the campsite is 630.79 meters away. And if I check this, we know from our discussions that the bigger the angle, the bigger the distance. So this is 88 gives me 800, so 52 is going to give me less than that. 630 seems reasonable because it's not more than 800, so that is our solution. I'm just going to I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to set up. So it's one of the problems we did that was on your worksheet. So this is a second example. Typically I wouldn't put two in one, but here we are. So I'm not going to do all this. I'm just going to set it up a bit. So Stella decided to ski to a friend's cabin. She skied 10 kilometers in the direction of north, 40 degrees east. She rested, then went south. So she went north somewhere this direction and then south. So I'm going to start down here and make this my first position. And because they're compass directions, and I could draw a little better, that would help. There's my compass heading. So I've drawn my little north, south, east, west thing, and it says she went in a direction of north, so going straight up, and 40 degrees down towards the east. So that would look something like this. So again, going up to the north, and then 40 degrees over this way. So this inside angle right there is 40 degrees. And she went to here, and that's where she stopped, and that was 10 kilometers. And then from that point, put another heading on there just to help me figure out what's going on. It says she then skied south 45 degrees towards the east. So then this way here, she went south and 45 degrees towards the east. So it was this way. And it doesn't say how far, but about there. So this angle right here, inside of there, is 45 degrees. And we want to know, and I'm going to maybe pick a different color to finish it in. This. We want to know how far it is from on the second leg of the trip. So I want to know this. And it says the cabin is 14.5 kilometers from our home. So this was home. This is the cabin over here. And this is the second leg. So I'm going to use that as an S. And I know it's like it doesn't have ABC, but we can deal with it. 14.5 kilometers. And if you look at it, I got a triangle. I got an angle there, kind of an angle here, but that's not really helping me. That angle in there, I don't know because I don't know this little angle. So I don't know that one. And I don't know anything here. But if I can figure out that angle, I'll have the inside angle. And this distance is, oops, just a sec. This distance on this side is 10. And we're going to do a couple of these. So that's that right there. Now, because of this, we didn't do much of the angle rule, so you may not remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into a triangle this way. And it's a right triangle because they work out nice. So if this angle is 40 degrees, this angle has to be 50 degrees. If that angle is 50 degrees, then inside of this right angle right here, that angle right there has to be 40 degrees, meaning that inside angle right here, a different color, that inside angle right there has to be 85 degrees. I don't like the red. Inside there is 85 degrees on the inside between the whole thing. Now I've got 85 degrees. I have the inside part right there. I still don't have the pair to find this side, but if I use these two right here, I can find angle C, and then if I angle C, I can find that one to find the mystery. So it's a couple step piece. So I would use, I want this angle right here. So I want sine of C over 10, I should just use the letters first, over C equals the sine of S over S. And so in this case, the sine of C is over 10 equals the sine of 85 degrees. And this is the tricky part, this making this triangle, figure out what those angles are on the inside of there. But we got the 45, we can find that missing one. So a little bit of the triangle stuff we probably didn't spend enough time on, but we'll go back. 14.5. If I do all the math on that, C is going to equal some angle. We know, in this case, H plus S plus C, right? There's the angles. Have to add up to 180. Knowing that, I can find, already have 80, that's 85. Whatever this angle is here, goes 180. We can find H. And I'm not doing all, I want you to do the work for it. There's H. If I then know what H is, I can find this side. So I'm looking for side H because I want to know how far she travels in the second leg. H over sine of H equals either S. I would use S because that's the first one I started with. So if I screwed up the second one, I really made a mess. Over sine of S, do all the work, and I can find H. And again, like I said, I'm not doing this. You can crunch the numbers. But the big thing is, if you remember what I said, we have that first compass heading that gives us 40 degrees. We know that one. Make this triangle because I need to know this. Now, there's another way to look at it. If I have this, and we spent a little time, but not very much. We just went over those rules briefly. Right, so I know I've got this right here. It looks like this. This angle right here and this angle right here are the same. So this angle is 40. This angle is 50. The inside one, so that this diagonal line intersects the two horizontal lines, so that angle is 50. Or the opposite of that is that's a vertical line and that's a vertical line, and the inside of that is 40. So there's some different angle rules that would have helped us here, but if we form the triangle, we can also do it, right? Because if I do this and fill that in, that's a 90, as would this side over here. That's the logic behind these. It'll take a bit of practice. I don't expect you to get them all right away, but I wanted to work through that one because we didn't have a chance to really go over it. So that are the steps to solving that. Like I said, I'm not going to solve it. You can crunch the numbers. You can do the math. You're all good at that now. Find that value, put it in there, find the other value, write a statement. The distance in the second leg is that. But this is the key to solving this. All right, long video. Skim it to that part or whatever you need to do. But if you have any questions, we will go over them. And this is good review and good when you need it again. Thanks.